my name is Christopher Warren, and I've just returned to Sedona from Colorado, and I'm sitting with Ambaya Martin, who is the founder and CEO of Ambaya Gold Health Products, and we're catching up. We haven't seen each other in a couple of years, and this is an opportunity for us to, for actually me to find out what's been going on. And Ambaya, I think you just got back from Russia, correct?
Yes, actually in July. Yes, but it seems like yesterday.
Yeah. So what was going on there?
Oh wow! I was greeted with such a great welcome by about 200 people that have been selling the product for about more than 4 years. It's been almost 5 years.
Yeah,
it's been
okay.
5 years. And they were so enthusiastic about all of the results that they have created with these products that they wanted to meet me because they wanted to know who was behind these products that have created such miracle results according to them. And one by one, they came and shared with me all of these miracle results that they have had from various illnesses. And I was especially touched by one woman at the very end who came right before I was leaving, because I had to get back to the airport, but she had come from far away. And she wanted to make sure that she saw me personally to tell me thank you, because they had told her she was going to die about 2 years ago, and thanks to what she says, the products, she's still alive. So she wanted to tell me thank you. And she was healthy and happy and vibrant. So
and she was going to die.
They had told her to go and get her affairs in order because she was going to die. And she didn't. And so this was 2 years later, and she wanted to come and tell me thank you. So literally she just came, said thank you, gave me a hug. They told me her story, and I left. But that was a real beautiful way to seal a very wonderful trip. Because
and I'm not quite sure what you're sending over there, but in the past, a lot of people start with the superconductive ion of minerals and the detox. And is this something they're doing over there too? Or?
They have been selling the vitamins, the minerals, the detox, the oxygen, and the magnesium, and the silver spray. Those are their main products. And now they have also added the beauty cream, the lotion, the mist, and not the soap yet.
Okay, got it.
But I think it will come.
So tell me the mechanism of the superconductive ion of minerals. So why does it work so well, and especially in relationship with the detox, cleanse, and renew? How does it work?
Well, the vitamins and the minerals work together to give the body the raw materials that we need in order to have enough energy to run our bodies. We need energy to sleep, we need energy to digest, we need energy to run, we need energy to refurbish ourselves, basically, and to be constantly renewing energy. And it is the minerals that actually hold that energy, very much like a battery in a car. Try to run your car without a battery, or with your run-out battery, you're not going to go anywhere, right? And so these products really supply the correct, I call it, gasoline for our cars. I'm very clear that we are the spirit inhabiting in this body, and that this body requires very fine octane premium gas, and that's what I think this is. Anyway,
and this one is what?
Well, the essence of life is a mixture of all of our superconductive vitamins, minerals, and enzymes and amino acids, and it has just about everything that the body needs to function effectively. So I call this the correct gas for your car. And you were asking about the detox. Well, the detox is the formula that removes the obstacles to the electrical charge that the body needs in order to function. And so what are those obstacles? The obstacles are heavy metals, chemical pollutants, environmental pollutants, bacteria that don't belong to us. And so as you remove those easily, not with a heavy detox reaction, but easily every day, then the body keeps itself flowing to where the cells keep getting nourished. And that's basically the secret.
And you know what's really interesting to me, as far as when people would start using the detox, or when they do start using it, is that I think in our culture we have this thing of a detox being a heavy thing. Whereas when people are taking the detox, cleanse, and renew, they just feel good.
Yes.
You know, and then one day, you know, they just generally they feel good and they start feeling better, and then one day they sort of wake up in a new place. And it was one of the most amazing things for me to see, especially in the early days. You get used to it after a while, but you would see the new customers come in, and then you would see them even just a week or two later, and they looked so differently you didn't even recognize them.
Remember?
Like you'd walk right past them, and they'd be like Christopher, and it was really one of the most extraordinary things. And what really turned me on to this, especially in the early days with this, was the pet health, which is similar to detox, cleanse, and renew. I would see these old tired animals just become like puppies again. Old dogs became puppies, and their fur would become beautifully soft, and it would look almost like it was greasy. It was so fresh looking, and you would run your hand down the dog, and you'd think your hand would be like greasy from doing it, but no, it was just shining from within the hair follicles. It was amazing to see. And so, and this is what triggered me in the sense of really getting behind the products in the early days, before I even knew them well, was I was like, there's no placebo effect happening here.
Right.
Okay, these are just happy animals now. And I was like, well, if they can do this for animals, like, what's it going to do for people? And I think one of the interesting things on this is that this is not something where you're experiencing a heavy load. You need to do handfuls of supplements or this. This is something you do once in the morning and once in the evening, and it's done. And, and I think the side effects, I don't think we've ever had any serious side effects with this.
In the almost 10 years that we've been selling these products, we have not had any complaints.
No.
So some people complain about the caps or the bottles breaking from time to time in shipping, but that's about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you've had a money-back guarantee since day one, and I don't remember anything ever coming back for a refund in all the years. Yeah.
Well, a couple of broken boxes, that's about it.
Exactly, that's normal.
But I'd like to be able to talk a little bit about the zeolite, the detox, cleanse, and renew, because the formula is not just a regular formula for detoxing. It really is a humic-based formula with zeolite, and that combination is particularly good. The humic is all of the organic substance that has decomposed in the earth for maybe millions of years, hundreds of thousands of years, and it gets trapped in the different strata of the earth. And as you process that, you can make it into a liquid that becomes humic acid. Yeah. And that acid is so rich in minerals and 17 amino acids, plus it has the strongest factor of immunity.
Yeah.
And so when people are taking this detox, cleanse, and renew, they are cleansing their body, getting rid of the things that don't belong there, that are the obstacles to this energy flow. They're also supporting their immune system very strongly, and they are returning some of the minerals that the body really needs.
Well, and what's interesting on this too is that in Asia, we call it humic and fulvic acid over here, but in Asia it's shilajit. And this is something that's been in Ayurvedic for thousands of years. Yeah, right. Exactly. So this is sort of Ayurvedic with a new twist on it. And what's interesting now is about the consistency. I mean, obviously everyone needs to consistently take the products. But it's more than that, it's the consistency of the results with the product. And I think one of the things on this too is, if we look at humic and fulvic molecules, is that they're a transport mechanism, and they'll carry up to, 60 times their weight, 40 times, 60 times their weight. And there's something interesting that happens when it comes in contact with the cells, which is it lowers the resistance of the cell membrane and gets in the cell. So if we look at, we have a third of the population in the U.S. that is diabetic or pre-diabetic, and this creates cell membrane permeability issues. This is only one segment of the population that has this issue. But even on that level, you're looking at a third of the population is not getting basic nutrition on a deep level into the cells. And here's this old Ayurvedic thing from thousands of years ago that you sort of resurrected, about 10 years ago or so? And it has proven to work day in and day out on people and
for centuries.
pets. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so I call one of the things that our products have is both the fulvic and the humic. The fulvic is a derivative of the humic.
Yeah.
And I call it the FedEx to the cells.
That's
Because
true.
it does. It's the fastest way that the liquid nourishment gets into the cells and it gets utilized. So it bypasses the digestive system. That is why we get very quick results. So
Yeah.
people feel energized immediately
Yeah.
after taking these products. I had a man yesterday that he said that he was hypoglycemic and that after he ate, just got so sleepy he could hardly get up. So we gave him, because he ate breakfast with us, gave him a little bit of essence of life. And that by lunchtime, he says, I want some more of that stuff. It kept me going. I actually went on a hike after a big breakfast. He says, I've never done that.
Yeah.
It is like he has to, it takes him a couple of hours to regain his energy after he eats.
Yeah.
And he likes to eat. I mean, that's a really
Well, and this is an interesting
bad
thing about
problem.
this is not only we have the cell membrane, you know, the materials getting into the cells, but humic and fulvic acid is also really good for the GI tract too, right?
Well, it's good for
right up.
everything.
Yeah.
It really, to me, I call it the greatest gift from Mother Earth because it really is what nourishes us. When it comes down to it, if all of the earth is made up of all of this organic matter and it has been compiling for millions of years, creating the crust, it is extremely nourished. It's nourishment for us because that's all life is made up of it. It all depends on what ratio and to what degree we have or not have the necessary minerals that we are made up of that result in whether we're healthy or unhealthy.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and it's interesting, you know, back on the minerals thing you're just talking about, if you look at, there were studies done about 10 years ago or so that took the mineral analysis and vitamin analysis, but especially the mineral analysis of fruits. And compared to what we had even in the 50s, and it had already gone down then, but we have good tests from the 50s, is that the fruits and vegetables had basically half the minerals that they did in the 50s, and it had already gone down by the time they started doing the test in the 50s. And it's not just an overall thing where half the minerals are down, its entire spectrums are missing. And this is where the humic and fulvic comes in because it's replacing huge amounts of trace elements, minerals, amino acids that just aren't found in our food anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And not only that, so our formulas are special because they have the base of the humic and the fulvic, but we also enhance those elements that are critical to our ability to function in the world today. Today we are being literally exposed to all kinds of toxicity from the minute all day long and all night long, because we're still breathing it, even though we may feel safe inside our houses. But the radiation that's coming at us from all sources and all of the chemicals that we're smelling.
You mean like our smartphones and, you know, all that kind of radiation,
that.
the EMFs? Yeah.
Yeah, and all of the pollution everything is right here, whether we see it or not. So if we take our zeolite every day, we're going to stay clean and not worry about it so much. And some of the platinum groups that we use in these products actually hold a very high energy field. So they are protected. They are protected against the radiation.
Yeah.
They protect us and make us be like strong antennas so that we can actually have resonance enough to receive the information that we're supposed to be working on, process it, and creatively express it out. If we're strong enough and vital enough to have our creativity actually function for some goodness in society.
You know, it's really interesting you talk about the creative aspect too on things, because one of the big lessons I saw early on with this is that it made me realize that the lack of nutrition that people are getting over the long term, it directly affects their physiology.
Yes.
So people are not themselves. And it's with the Ambaya Gold products, when people start taking them, all of a sudden they have there's a big calm that comes. And all of a sudden, the energy that was just, their energy that was just lost in day-to-day survival because they didn't feel right. All of a sudden they feel good, and they feel good every day, and there's a consistency to that. And that's where you just mentioned the creativity. That's where we saw folks and we see folks come in, and all of a sudden they have the energy to do new projects. They have the creative edge again. And part of maintaining the creative edge is enthusiasm.
Yes.
And you can't be enthusiastic if you don't feel good.
No, and that's where these platinum groups really come in. The high frequency of the gold, the silver, the iridium, the rhodium, all of those high frequency elements are in our plasma. But if we don't have enough of them, we're not going to resonate to those high frequencies.
Yes.
We're going to be down in the dumps.
Yeah.
And you know, eating organic foods is wonderful, and I'm all for that. But all of the farms are not being restored with all of the minerals.
Yeah.
Maybe they get extra, some of the basic minerals, but nobody's putting the stuff that is really missing.
Yes.
That we really need.
Yeah.
So we have to supplement.
We have to, because if you look at the modern farming practices, like you were saying, even many of the farms have gone back to organic, is there still a time factor before those soils are fully restored? And second is, you know, we can't always eat organic for whatever reason.
And the pollution is giving us polluted rain anyway,
Yeah.
so it's falling underneath. So we're going to have to find a way, and our way is through the zeolite humic formula with the detox, cleanse, and renew that performs that. And what I have found also is that it's much better to take it at night before people go to bed, so that they're not having any kind of questions. Is this working for me? Do I like it? Do I not? What if it gives me a headache? Just like you mentioned about the cats and the dogs, no placebo effect. If you give this to the people at nighttime, then they will forget about it. And also at night, the body, there's a certain time between 10 p.m. and 2 in the morning where our body detoxes naturally and it digests the physical leftovers of the day. So if you don't eat right before you go to bed, and so that the body doesn't have to go and digest something new, the body should be able to digest whatever was not digested during the day, so that then we start newly. And then at 2 o'clock in the morning, we can dream, because there is no interference with that. And through the dreaming, we can actually process all our emotional body. But when we're not dreaming, because we're trying to digest the pizza we ate at 12:30, then all of these emotional processes start accumulating. And so discipline is a good thing to follow with our products. Consistency is key, and I think that that's one of the reasons that these Russian people were so effective with their taking the products, because they are consistently taking them. They take them very seriously, and they also work in groups. They support each other. I think here in the United States, for the most part, the families have broken up so much, and everybody's out surviving on their own. And finding communities is sometimes difficult, because everybody's still really trying to survive rather than live in harmony with other people. And I think that from what I gather, and I may be wrong about this, but I spent these 10 days in Russia, and my opinion that I got left with was that these people have really gotten to appreciate one another because they went through so much loss. And they know how to support one another, and they support the goodness and the good qualities of each other. And they're not afraid to say, hey, go take your vitamins.
Yeah, got it.
And especially if they're going through some kind of health crisis, they are just right there present for each other. And I thought that that was really a wonderful, wonderful thing. And so.
Well, and it's interesting too, you mentioned on that point, if you look at, John Robbins wrote a book, I think 2007, about the 5 or 6 areas of the world where people live the longest. And if you looked at this, is that they, big component of that was good, natural, balanced diets, and the social component you were talking about. And a lot of men, also a lot of the folks have a certain level of physicality in their lives too. And so if you look at, what we're faced in America oftentimes is we have sedentary jobs, we have poor eating or imbalanced eating, we have a lack of ability to fully utilize that food because of a lot of absorption issues that people have both with their GIs and with their cells. And then we have, like you were saying, a lack of community, a lack of family unit close by or support mechanisms. And so here we have people that are commonly living to be 90, 100 years old with great physicality, and you look at our society where it's like maybe 10% of the population is aging better than our parents did, but for the most part we're still following traditional lines. You hit 40 or 50 and you start this slow default towards old age and death, as opposed to going and being able to not only incorporate the wisdom that you work so hard to achieve through trial and error and goods and bads through your whole life. You get to that point where, the part of it is maintaining the physicality so you can actually enjoy the wisdom you have.
Yeah, the old age is not really just about old age. It's really about how well your body can function, and because of all of the nutrition that it is able to put to use. And we have gotten brainwashed into thinking that we have to die feeling bad. But actually, we don't. I got to see this with my own mother. She was happy.
And that's what I mentioned back on your mother here. Now, and again, just refresh me. She was on 20 medications. And
At one point,
Yeah.
at one point, before I started all this stuff, she had been on medication, and at one point she ended up in the hospital, and that's when I went and interfered.
Yeah.
And so we took her off the medications and put her on my products, and she regained all of her abilities, cognitive, physical, and her joy was exquisite.
Yeah, and she became the life of the party. So she went from like an introvert and sort of, barely being part of the program to being the life of the party.
Yeah, and she was the life of the whole building that she lived in. Yeah, so it was quite an amazing evidence that these things work.
Well, I think part of the thing too was how fast she responded to them also. And again, going back to the consistency is the people who were directly responsible for her caregiving at that time. It was part of her program.
Right.
Yeah.
We made sure that the nurses gave her her essence of life, her detox, her magnesium, because that was the best thing that they did. They have to. Did they get their meds? Only she didn't have meds. She just had the supplements.
Yeah. And she
great.
got her physicality back too.
Yeah.
And I want to go back on the John Robbins thing real quick. Is that part of the aging process with these people who tend to be 95, 100 years old before they passed, was they maintained their physicality. Like for instance, there was one example of in Georgia, Georgia, in the mountains there were Sherpas, and these Sherpas could keep up in their 80s and early 90s. They could keep up with the younger Sherpas. And then one day, typically, again, across all these societies they went to, is the person would be going strong, and then one day they'd say, I don't feel so well, and like 2 months later they were passed. It wasn't a 30 or 40 year degenerative thing we have here. And I want to flip over real quick too on the products, so go back to the pet thing, pet aspect of it, which is, and just not for cats or dogs, is that, like for instance, I remember we've had clients that, macaws, they get stressed and they start picking at their feathers, and the owners would just give a drop or two a day, and they would stop picking their feathers and it would all come back.
I can't remember.
And that's part of the thing. And then also is that, so it's part of that calmness thing that is a central part to our health. The stress factor does so much to us, both mentally and physically. So on these products, there's an element to this calm that is experienced with it.
And I think that part of that comes from basically the humic and the fulvic, because if you can think of all of the mineral world and all of the plant world as a symphony, they have all kind of decomposed together. They have all gotten friends with each other. They have remained what they are, and they are really our building blocks, and they are in harmony. They're no longer kind of fighting with one another. And so when we take them, it brings us to harmony, because it restores those things that are missing. And that's why I think that these products really just replenish our raw materials, and the body is ultimately intelligent, It knows how to use it. But it needs one thing. It needs to make sure that it gets absorbed and utilized, and that the cells are actually taking it into the structure like you talked about earlier, so that they can reproduce. And there we have it. Life can go on.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all going to die at some point, but I don't know what all of these ancient people from the Bible were doing, where they lived for 900 years or what. That's still to be questioned. I'm not going to say that these products are going to let anybody do that. But who knows? Maybe they did.
Yeah.
And maybe they were living very, very clean lives, and they supplied with all of the elements through both the atmosphere and the foods that they were eating, and they had no interference.
Well, it's interesting too, just talking about the life extension thing. If we look at athletes who take the products, their performance goes up. And then if we go and we look at the calming effect of it, okay, as far as all of a sudden you're not running these programs and patterns in conflict, all of a sudden that, a lot of that drops away. So you don't have that stress on the body. So I think that we may not make it to 900 years, but I think there's a life extension aspect to these products.
Right.
And again, part of it is the fact that these are so easy to take. They're liquid. You can just put them in a little bit of water or put them in orange juice or whatever. There's no taste to them. And again, there's no like side effects, there's upset stomachs or any of that sort of thing. They're pretty miraculous, really.
Yeah, they are. And even if they're in these big bottles, you can always put them in little bottles and take them with you on the plane for a few days. So it's all manageable.
Yeah, truly. Yeah. Well, before we conclude, is there any parting thoughts or?
Well, thank you for coming. You came right on time.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's good
It's
to be
good
on
to
time.
see you.
Yeah.
So maybe we can go do something fun tomorrow.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
Yeah. Well, thanks,
Very good.
Ambaya.
Thank you.
Great talking with you again.
Same here. Bye.
Bye-bye.